I create clinical trial budgets, and so that's what I'm going to talk to you about today. So we're going to have some objectives. I want, at the end of this talk, I'd like for you to understand, number one, how to get started in creating a clinical trial budget, what items to include in your budget, why your study should not bill two sources for the same procedure, why patients should not get billed for something that the study should provide for free, and how to determine what that is, and making sure the paperwork all says the same thing. So why would you want to create a clinical trial budget? There are usually three scenarios that I can think of, maybe three different types of budgets. One might be for industry-sponsored clinical trials. Another might be for federally funded clinical trials or clinical trials that are not industry funded. Maybe we should say non-industry. And that would include places like the American Heart Association, or the Cancer Foundation. I know it's cancer.org or something. But there's different types of organizations that are not for profit that we would probably treat the same when we're doing a budget as we would a federally funded study. And then there's those studies that are PI initiated at maybe your institution, and they are sometimes funded by a grant and sometimes they're funded by industry. So we might want to treat those different types of budgets a little different, and we will talk about that as time goes, as this program continues. So we want you to be able to prepare an independent review of the cost at your site to do a budget. And I want you to have an opportunity to compare the cost at your site and see if the sponsor's budget is adequate. You know, just because a sponsor comes up with a budget does not mean that that's enough money to do the study at your site, and that gives you an opportunity to decline. I mean, you may not want to take it if you're going to lose money. Most places don't. You also need to be able to assess whether the study is right for you, meaning your patient population, based not only on reimbursement factors, but outcomes. You know, are these the kind of outcomes you're looking for your patient population? And is the study right? And another big important one is there going to be an open label follow-up study for a drug study involving a new product? Because many physicians do not want to start their patients on a new product only to find that the study's over with in 3 months, and then their patients have nothing and they have to go back, or sometimes they can't go back. You know, it depends on what the type of drug it is. So we'll start at the top, startup fees. And I should say the top, but it's actually the beginning. Always start at the beginning. So in order to prepare for a clinical trial, you do have cost. You have to prepare this budget, which is certainly a cost. Somebody has to do it. And it needs to be somebody that understands the research, maybe has been a coordinator in the past or a PI. They have to be able to estimate how long it takes to do each procedure and be able to find out where to get the prices for those procedures. You also need to count the time it takes for the contract language to be negotiated. The coordinator has startup fees independent of the budget. Sometimes the coordinator is expected to do everything, but let's assume that it doesn't matter if they are or they aren't. It's still a separate cost involved for them to prepare source documents, set up accounts, maybe lab accounts or accounts for x-rays or procedures like a colonoscopy, a right heart cath, those type of things. That all takes time, and then they have to schedule them, but they have to set it all up in advance so that when that time comes, it doesn't consume a lot of their time. So those are type of things we're going to cover in this startup fees. And then there's IRB preparation cost, preparing that IRB submission, preparing all the paperwork that it takes if you have a local IRB, which is a lot more than if you're blessed to be able to use a commercial IRB. Sponsors a lot of times will coordinate prior to you being selected as a site, and then your site only has to prepare the informed consent, and maybe the local costs regarding what your state will allow, that sort of thing. And regulatory document preparation. If you are using, if it's an industry-sponsored clinical trial, you do have regulatory documents because the sponsor has to prepare those and send them to the FDA. So you or someone at your site would be in charge of getting those documents ready for your site and send them to the sponsor. Then there's the per patient budget. And the per patient budget is supposed to generate funds to pay for the time it takes for the coordinator fees, all the time it takes for the coordinator to be with that patient, to set up for that visit, to clean up after that visit, and to do the paperwork, at the end of the day when the patient leaves. There's PI fees. The PI or a physician will have charges for physical exams or maybe other assessments that are specific to whatever disease or disorder that you're studying. They also have to oversee the study, and they're responsible. So there is a certain amount of cost involved with that, or not so much cost, but necessarily a reimbursement factor might be the better word. Then you might have facility fees. We have a facility that's dedicated to research only because our clinics are so packed in 15-minute intervals that there's not enough time to see a research patient because the physicians are expected to turn the patients over so they can have the next set of patients coming in. So we have a research facility where the coordinator can book a room, and it's $20 an hour, which is pretty reasonable. That helps offset the rent. Procedure costs are those things that might be used to evaluate if this study, drug, or device is working. It could be x-rays. It could be, again, colonoscopies or endoscopies. If you're doing an obesity trial and they are putting something down into the patient's stomach or colon somewhere, they have to do it with an endoscopy. Sometimes they go back and retrieve those devices later if it's a temporary fix. So those costs all have to be included in your budget. And then, of course, labs if they're not using a central lab. So if you're going to want to figure out how long it takes, how much it's going to cost for your coordinator, your PI, your lab tech, your data person, you might want to figure out how to compute their hourly rate. You can just guess and say, I think we should charge this much. But you could actually come up with an actual cost, and then you'd have something to justify whatever your expense is. And I think this is very helpful. So this is how I did it. This is entirely just what I came up with. If there are other ways, I'm sure they all would work as long as you can explain them to someone else and justify how you got up with that cost. I think that it's just a matter of making sure that you do have something like this. Now, what we do is we have a pool of coordinators that we more or less rent out by the hour to our local physicians because some of the physicians don't do enough research that they can afford to have their own coordinator. So rather than hire a coordinator for a study or 2 or 3 studies until they run out and then have to let that coordinator go, they can use our coordinators, and our coordinators might coordinate for different types of studies for different docs. So they just have to make sure that if they schedule their own patients, then so far they've not really had any problems. It works out really well as long as you don't have inpatients where they're expected to come in the middle of the night and outpatients scheduled, and they can't possibly do both without sleep. So you would have a problem there, and then you need to have backups. But that's just a way of doing it, and I'm sure there's many ways. So to compute the hourly rate, there's 2,080 hours in a year, workable hours, 5 days a week, 52 weeks. So you take out vacation. So whatever your institution vacation policy is, you can take that many days back out in hours. So if we're working with hours, we have to stick with hours. So 22 times 8 is 176. So I'll subtract out those hours, because if you're a person that takes your vacation, because you either take it or you lose it, You have to count on them taking it. So we'll take those hours out because they can't generate any income if they're not here. So we're going to take out those hours. We're going to take out, if you have unverified sick time, we get 5 days a year that you can take without an excuse. So I'm just saying that since they are possible to take them out, then let's take them out. I did not take out, in this particular example, any of the long-term sick days, which you could use if you have an excuse, and those would be times you might take off if you had a surgery or an illness of some sort where you'd have to be off for more than 2 days. Then we're going to take out the paid holidays. And so there's 8 in a year that we get paid for, so we'll take out 64 hours. So that leaves 1,800 hours. So I thought it's practical to take out an hour per work day. So that'd be 52 hours. Not 52 hours. 52 times 5 hours, which is 225 hours out of my 2,080 hours, because I think people probably use an hour a day to work on their email, get caught up so they know who needs what, answer questions. So I took that out. And then I also took out an hour a week of mandatory meetings, and that's probably too many. But it's like we sometimes have coordinator meetings that are once a week. Then there's meetings for that they have to attend to have certifications in lab and processing, stuff like that. So those are all things that you can kind of consider. So that gets us down to 1,523 hours in a year that are workable. Now, there are inefficiencies, and I call them that because I couldn't think of what else to call them. But there are times when we're just not real busy. It's almost impossible to try to keep a coordinator busy, or anyone that you're paying 40 hours a week, busy for 40 hours a week. You almost have to either overbook them or underbook them. You just can't make it exactly perfect. Sometimes it does turn out to be perfect, but it's probably just error because it's really hard. So we call those times when they're just not busy. Maybe they're helping by backing up another coordinator. Maybe someone needs a second set of hands, or maybe somebody else has 2 patients scheduled and they have to run between rooms so they can have another coordinator that's not busy helping them process. So there are inefficiencies, but we're not dealing with them here. We're just going to leave it at that. So 1,523 hours is the approximate billable hours that a single person can have in a year. So if you take the annual salary of the employee and add whatever your benefits are, you'd have to check with HR to find out what your benefit package amounts to. And for us, they said it was 30%, and that includes health care, tuition reimbursement, matching for 401k, that sort of thing. And so you divide that by the 1,523 realistic workable hours in a year. So if you have $60,000 as my example for salary, plus 30% for benefits, which is $18,000, and that's $78,000. You divide by the 1,523 hours, and it's $51.21 an hour. So this does not allow inefficiency, but that would be your hourly rate if you wanted to break even. So you can do that for each person, or you can take the average cost. If there's several coordinators in your department that are working together and you just want to take the average of all of their salaries, you can do it that way. But you need to have some sort of hourly rate so that when you're working on your budget, you know what amount it would be that you either break even or you would lose money. You have to have that middle ground. So the next thing that if you have, let's say you're doing an industry-sponsored clinical trial, and they send you the protocol, and they say, okay, here's the budget template. They give you all the documents you possibly need so everybody can get started doing their jobs, which would be budget, contract, IRB application, regulatory documents, all the things that have to do with startup. So if you're going to be the person doing the budget, the first thing I do is I find a schedule of events and I print it out. And I put the date that we received the request because we have more than enough requests that we don't get to them the actual day that we get their requests. And so sometimes I try to get them done as quickly as possible, but sometimes it takes a couple of weeks. And I set it aside. And then when I read the protocol, I get it out and I take notes on that schedule of events so that I have a place that, and I have one particular sheet that I can go to, so when I get down to creating the budget, my notes are all there. So what I'm looking for when I read the protocol, I read, if I don't know anything about that particular disease, I'll read what it's about, because I usually explain that at the beginning, the rationale for the study, and then I get down to the actual study procedures and what's going to happen in this study. And so as I'm reading, I refer to the schedule so that I can make sure that everything they're asking for is actually in the schedule of events, because sometimes it isn't. Sometimes they don't mention things that they want you to do, and if you don't, you might find out when you're in your CRF completion at the end of the day, after you're seeing a patient, the study started. But if the person doing the budget doesn't check, it could be that they didn't allow enough money. They may not realize that there's more data being collected than what the schedule of events accounts for. And I'll also say that most of the time, the schedule of events doesn't have any time in it for CRF completion. Something that has to happen and usually happens later after the patient leaves. So those are all things that I take in consideration. And I look at the schedule. I check out if they're asking for MRIs or right heart caths or any of these things. You need to know a couple of things. Number one, you need to be able to get the technical cost for that MRI or X-ray or endoscopy. You need to be able to get the professional fee, because a separate person reads it, a physician, and they charge a different fee other than the technical fee, and they're usually not quoted at the same time, at least not at our place. If there's any biopsies done, then you have to get a fee for pathology. And there's also a technical and a professional fee for pathology. And of course, if they're going to be under anesthesia, there's another fee for the anesthesiologist. So it can be a lot of fees for one little procedure. And what I have done is I will create a little Excel spreadsheet, and I'll put in a square for technical fee, professional fee, anesthesia. If there's a biopsy, I add a pathology box. And then I also add a box for the coordinator, because sometimes they have to go to be with the patient. Sometimes they're an extra set of hands, and sometimes they just have to accompany the person. And whatever the reason is, if they're there, you need to be able to pay for their time. And so I put in all of those fees, and I get my little grand total. Now, the way it works at our university, and I don't know how it works at anyone else's, but our hospital is not owned by the university, nor does the university own the hospital. So we're two separate entities. So the technical fees and professional fees are always separate. They're never together. Now, I know some places the hospital is owned by the academic center or vice versa, so it could be that yours would be the same. And I can't tell you that, but I can tell you I know there's a charge for each. So you can ask that question. But they will not, the hospital will not guarantee their prices for any longer than 1 year. So they say, please add a 5 to 6% increase adjustment for the next year. Now, of course, that's really going to complicate your budget, because you think, okay, how can I do that? I might come up with a total of $3,000 for the procedure for this year, meaning right now when I'm doing the budget, but is that study going to last longer than the next year? Because our prices increased January 1. So every year in January, I ask, can you give me an updated price? And sometimes it goes up, sometimes it doesn't go up much, sometimes it does. It just depends. So what I do is I add a 5% increase for that particular total before the first year, because that at least covers me for a whole year. Whether it crosses that New Year line or not, I'm covered. And if it goes longer, then we'll just kind of wait and see. I mean, you can tell by the length of the study. So if your study's going to have a 5-year long-term follow-up because they want data, and you're going to have procedures that are involved, like even an MRI, then you might want to kind of figure out how you're going to adjust the cost. But most of the time, I just add 5% and it works out. And if it goes on, I did have one study that they kept extending, and it started out to be, just a regular clinical trial for like a year. And by the time we were done, it was in 10 years follow-up because they wanted long-term data. That was at the time when there was a rheumatology study, and they had taken off a couple of drugs off the market, and they wanted to make sure this new drug wasn't going to do that same thing. So they kept extending the trial, and I was with that particular PI doing that particular study for the whole 10 years. So, it was easy to see, how things were going. And since it was rheumatology, it did involve x-rays, but it didn't really involve any other big procedures. X-rays are not a huge cost. I mean, not like an MRI or a procedure that involves, a OR and anesthesia and pathology and, et cetera. So in that regard, it was okay. And we did ask them if they would update the budget like halfway through, and they were willing to do that. That's another thing. If you find that you made a mistake in your budget and you have created a good relationship with the person that you're negotiating that budget with, you can go back. Everybody's human, and everybody makes mistakes. And you can say, Dear Sally, I forgot to include this fee in my budget. And a lot of times it could be a startup fee, it could be an annual fee, or it could just be that, oh my God, I forgot the professional fee. That's why I created that little box, that has the Excel spreadsheet with all the boxes, because then I know if I forgot something. So, but when I first started doing this 15 years ago, I didn't really even know that there was a different professional fee from the technical fee. Nobody told me. So, and I definitely did not know that there wasn't any anesthesia. I didn't know the anesthesiologist also sent another bill. I thought, oh my gosh, for Pete's sakes, this is like, when are they going to let open the bag and let all the secrets out? So, it's important to realize that all those different costs can be compounded to your one little cost ends up being this huge amount. And we're always, academia is notoriously high on their budgets. Especially if you ask if you ask an industry sponsor or a CRO, they say, oh, academia, terrible, they're just so expensive. But that's just the way it is. We have it all, and the reason they come to us is because academia is the place that has the thought leaders. They're the ones that think about this stuff. They're the ones that come up with these different ideas and solutions, and actually industry wants to partner with them because they learn a lot of new things. So it's worth it. And we have the patients. When you go to your primary care physician, they a lot of times will refer you to a specialist if you have a problem. So academia then is where those specialists are, and that's where the patient population comes to fill these different clinical trials. That doesn't mean that your neighborhood doctor can't do research. Of course they can, but they may not have the number of patients that might qualify for a difficult clinical trial coming to them. Those are the type that get transferred to specialists. So let's see. Another thing you need to consider is when you're reading the protocol, after you're finished, you need to find out from your physician. And if you are the physician, you already know this, so you're one step ahead. I am not, so I have to ask, is any of this stuff standard of care? So if you were to see a patient in your clinic, especially at the screening visit, a lot of times patients are enrolled from the clinic. They come in and they see the physician who is a specialist in that area, and the physician knows in the back of his mind he's got 3 clinical trials, and the inclusion and exclusion criteria are different. So he keeps in mind, or maybe he has a card in his pocket, but he checks to see if this patient meets any of the criteria to be in the clinical trial. But what they usually know is if they are going to do an x-ray prior to seeing that patient, if an x-ray can be 6 months, if the study will accept an x-ray within the last 6 months, then perhaps that x-ray wouldn't need to be in your budget, and it could be standard of care. And so if that happens, a lot of times at the screening visit, I might make those type of procedures invoiceable. I wouldn't put them in my budget on the screening visit, but I would tell the sponsor, we're assuming it's standard of care. However, if our patient is enrolled and has not had that procedure and you want us to enroll him or her, then it'll have to be invoiced to you. And of course, they like that. They don't want to pay, well, what we don't want is for you to pay twice. I mentioned that in my objectives. You cannot collect twice. You can't charge the study and expect the patient's insurance to be billed for the same procedure. That is against the law. And your physician can get into a whole lot of trouble, and your academic center can too. And they will have to back out one of the costs. And usually the sponsor, of course, would not, if you're going to bill it to a standard of care, their insurance, they would love that, and they don't have to cover it in the per patient budget. But there's questions with that too. You know, so if you're the patient and you have copays and deductibles, is that fair? You know, Susie here didn't have it done, so the study's going to pay for hers, but I came in and I had that procedure done right before I came in, so it qualified, but I had a deductible and my deductible wasn't met, so I had to pay for the whole thing. That's not fair, you know, so that all has to be straightened out, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that at the end. So those are all things you have to think about, because when you're doing a clinical trial budget, you want to think ethically. It needs to be fair, and so I try to tie all that up in this one talk, and I hope I achieve the right goal at the end and you don't have any questions. So once you get the answers to your standard of care questions, and again, that usually only happens at the screening visit, but it can happen during let's say a surgery trial where they may have an x-ray in 6 months to see if the fusion was correct, or maybe it's an MRI or whatever. So those type of things you still have to find out at what time points would it be standard of care, and can you make it invoiceable if it isn't. And those items that are only for research, or for research only, however you want to say it, those are the ones you include in your budget. So once you go through your protocol, you've read the whole thing, you know what things you think need to be in your budget, then you can get started. And you need to know, when you're estimating coordinator time, how much time is it going to take for that coordinator to set up for that study. Now, I'm not talking about preparing the study binder and preparing all of the source documents. I mean, that should have already been done. Remember, we talked about a startup fee for that stuff. So this is only things that are related to the per patient budget. So if they have to go in and they have to get an EKG machine ready or something like that, we want to take all that in consideration when we're doing the budget. And then when the patient leaves, there's always going to be CRFs. It's very unlikely that you would complete the CRFs during the visit, although it could happen. But usually they're done when the patient leaves. You use your source documents to get the answers for those questions on the CRFs. So what I typically do is we create, we have software that does this, and it's homegrown, but you can use an Excel spreadsheet. It just takes a little bit extra time because you have to figure out how to calculate it in each box. But you could actually just put the amount in and then use it to total at the end. I mean, there's so many ways you can do it, and it works. So you create a spreadsheet budget by putting the timeline across the top, is how I recommend it, and your procedure line down the side. And so then in each box under the timeline for that procedure, you put in a dollar amount. So, of course, you want to make it in increments that could be multiplied. So, for instance, if your coordinator was going to spend 3/4 of an hour doing informed consent and you charge $75 an hour, that doesn't really divide real well. So what I would do is I would make it 60. I would just go up to $80, which you can divide by 4, and I'd put 20, 40, 60 for 3/4 of an hour in that box. If it was an hour, then you'd put 75. For doing a blood draw and lab processing for central labs, how long do you think it would take? You know, personally, I think it takes about an hour. The labs, sometimes the labs are processed at different rates, you know, in the centrifuge. So it could be that you're in there for a while, and plus you have to package it up, get dry ice sometimes, do the labels and prepare the right paperwork to go in the box and ship it. So I figure an hour for each visit for labs. If they're very detailed labs and there's a lot of different ones, it could be longer. You might want to just put an hour for processing and another 30 minutes for the blood draw. So some of this stuff you have to, if you are not the coordinator and don't know how long it takes to do these different things, then you need to talk with the coordinator. When I send my budget to the PI for approval, before I send it to the sponsor, I also send it to the study team, meaning the coordinator and, of course, the business manager for that department. They like to be informed. But the coordinator will a lot of times have very helpful information, especially if it's an area that I'm not real familiar with, because I am a nurse and I have been a coordinator in the past, but I haven't worked in every therapeutic area, so I don't know everything that goes on. I'll call them and I'll say, what is this? What happens when this happens? If you're doing this kind of grouping, a lot of times it's neurology or those assessments for MS. They are very time-consuming, I found out. I had a doc call and tell me, oh, gosh, that takes 3 hours. I said, oh, my gosh, I had no idea. I said, well, what would you like me to charge for this? And they said, oh, $250 or $300. And I said, okay, you got it. So what I did was I changed it in our database. I can put in how much I think each procedure should cost, and I can change it there so every time it pops up, the correct price will pop up. But then I ask them always when I send the budget, be sure to review the budget and let me know if I put in enough time, enough dollar amount to cover the time it takes to do that particular procedure. Because, again, sometimes it takes longer, or they'll say, oh, no, we did the startup for that one and it doesn't take that long at all. This particular one, it's only half the amount of paperwork. So, they'll tell me. And we've been working really closely with the cystic fibrosis group, and that is an interesting, they have an agreement with with all the sponsors that do these cystic fibrosis studies, that the patients get a stipend of $25 an hour for the time they're at the visit. So the coordinator, bless her heart, she is just so good. She sends me a breakdown of how long she thinks it'll take for each visit so that I know how much to put in the budget for the stipend for the patient. And then also we have the facility fee of $20 an hour, and so I'm able to also then estimate how long the visit will take for that fee. So she's just really a big help. And so being a budget person, it's a mutual agreement. You have to work as a team. You don't stand alone. No one could possibly expect you to know everything. So you have to get the feedback from the team and say, sure, I'm willing to change it to whatever you want. It's your budget, I'm not trying. A lot of times I'll ask them questions, and I said, I'm not trying to question you about anything. I'm trying to understand, because I need to know, because when I send it to the sponsor, if I don't know what I'm talking about, I'm the one that has to justify that particular budget. I'm the one that they're going to call and say, well, what do you mean you need $300 for this particular procedure? And then if I can explain that to them, they're golden, And as far as the cystic fibrosis group, we were working with an industry sponsor and that does a lot of these studies, and I said they had different amounts. They thought it was going to take less time than what I had for the coordinator, and I asked her, do you mind if I send your spreadsheet to the sponsor? And she said, no, go ahead. And I did, and they said, this is wonderful, thank you. We accept your budget. So, the more documentation you have, then the better off you'll be and the more valid your actual budget will be at the end of the day. And you have a better chance of getting what you need, because the sponsors, even though they might complain about the cost it takes to do a study at academia, that doesn't mean that they wouldn't give it to you. They don't want us to lose money. And if you're not from academia and you're from a CRO, or if you're from a physician's site, it's the same thing. You still need to have enough money to cover your costs. And if you're not a not-for-profit, if you are a for-profit entity, you are allowed to make a profit. That's what business is all about. We're a not-for-profit, so we would love it if we'd break even. Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't, so, it just all evens out. But the main thing is to have documentation and a reason why you're charging these fees. So when I request fees, I always tell them if it's either industry-sponsored or non-industry, because we have two different rates. For non-industry or those cooperative groups or, all that, the federal government, the Department of Defense, all that is federal government. Sometimes they're cooperative groups under the NIH, and they also fit that bill. And then, of course, the standalones like American Heart Association. We give them our costs. So in that case, I might use that $50 an hour. But if it's going to be industry sponsored, we have to cover the cost for inefficiencies. We have to cover the costs that the coordinator isn't so busy, because there are going to be times when we are waiting for a study to start and it hasn't started. So we still have to pay that person 40 hours a week. We're not going to say, oh, sorry, you don't get paid this week because we don't have anything for you. So we cover inefficiency by charging a little extra for industry-sponsored studies. So instead of $51.51 or whatever that was, we charge $75 for industry. But when we charge our internal customers, meaning our physicians, we charge them $62 an hour. So we split the difference more or less with them, because we realize that this is just an estimate. I mean, we're trying to cover our cost, but it's just an estimate. So this way they have a little extra in case, because we bill them hourly. We don't just say, well, we'll take all the money we negotiated for coordinator, because we're hoping that we underestimated, to be honest. We're hoping that we can easily do it for the amount of money that we put in the budget. But sometimes it's not really easy. I mean, industry, is tightening their belt as well. The cost of coming up with a drug is millions of dollars, and so, of course, they want their budgets to be as low as possible. So that's why it's important to justify what you're needing. But we still tell them it's $75 an hour. We have all of our coordinators are nurses, RNs. Now, if you have a non-nurse, you might be able to charge less. But in academia, a lot of times, even though they're not nurses, they might have 2 or 3 degrees under their belt. So, I mean, they deserve to make a living too. You just have to understand what your costs are. That's the whole point. So, let's see. So when you're asking for a price from a department, you might want to say this is an industry study or this is a federally funded study. For instance, a lot of these studies have side effects that you might need a dermatology exam, but it's not a dermatology study. Our dermatology department is not the same as our cardiac department, our cardiology or pulmonary or rheumatoid arthritis, whatever. They're all different. So that money will cross into these different departments. It sits with the PI. But the PI has to pay those people that he or she wants to hire to help him or her with those procedures that are not their expertise. We have one GI doctor that does not want to do a derm exam or an ophthalmology exam if the side effects might affect the eyes, because that is not her specialty, and she said, I don't want to be responsible. I want my patients well taken care of. So we get a price quote from these different groups, and they give a research discount for over and above, like different than what they would charge for an insurance claim, so that we can afford to do the research and have all the specialties that we need. So patient stipends is another thing you need to put in your per patient budget. Some companies, some industry sponsors, companies, don't want to include a stipend for some reason, and others do. And so I generally check their budget template to see if they offer a stipend. And if they do offer a stipend, then if it's reasonable, I'll use that amount. And if it isn't reasonable, I might question them about it and say, are you sure that's all you want? Because these patients have to drive, to get here. And, it's not fair to not, you're asking them to come back for all these visits. It's not fair to not offer them some sort of stipend to offset their travel costs at least. And most of the time they do. If they're inpatients and they're in the hospital already, or if they're coming to the emergency room, they don't necessarily want to pay a stipend because they say they're coming anyway. So it's kind of hard to justify paying them a stipend when they're here. But if they need to stay extra over and above, let's say they have to stay, it's an IV med, and the study wants them to stay in the hospital for the full 7 days, and as standard of care, they would have been discharged after day 3, then we can say, well, then we'll pay you a stipend of 50 or 75 or whatever it is per day for those days that are after the standard of care part is over with because you're asking them to stay extra. But they also have, the sponsor also has to pay for the hospital fee, which is not cheap. And also, I don't know if any of you have worked with Greenfire. That is a company that will pay the stipends directly using a credit cards type, like an ATM card. When the patient leaves, the coordinator goes online into the Greenfire website and says, yes, the patient was here, and the money that they were supposed to get for that stipend is immediately uploaded into their card, and when they leave, before they probably get to their car, they have their stipend. And they can use it just like you would a gift card or money card like a Visa or MasterCard or something like that. And so our patients really like those. And you can also, they do all the paperwork too, so we don't have to worry about that, but we do have to go online, so the paperwork is generated by the coordinator, but it only takes a minute. It seems to work really well. Then Greenfire can also pay for their hotel fees and meals and stuff like that if your patient is coming from out of town, which we have a lot of that because where we're centrally located in one of a large medical center for a couple 100 miles or so. So sometimes we get patients from I've seen them come from Oklahoma 2 or 3 different times for studies, so that's a pretty long ride. Then parking fees, if your institution has a parking garage where the patient has to pay to park, often the card would be validated for 50% discount if they're just a regular clinic patient, but if they're research, we pay for the whole thing. So I put that money in the budget. And I just put the total amount, the most that's possible to be charged is $15 a day. So I put $15 a day at each visit. So I know for sure if they stay all day and they visit everybody in the world they know that's at the hospital, it still won't exceed the amount that they're getting paid. And then mileage, some studies will pay mileage if they're coming. And we do offer taxi service. We don't personally offer it. I mean, we'll arrange for a taxi. If the patients, we have some studies that are in psychiatry and the patients are schizophrenic and they can't drive. So if they want to come for the visits, we'll arrange for a taxi. We also have a Metrolink that they can, choose to ride if they want. Okay. So this is kind of what a budget might look like. I mean, this is our software. But if you had an Excel spreadsheet, it would look the same way, only it may not be all dressed up in color. But pretty much the amount in this particular software, which I do not like, it has overhead on each individual item instead of having it at the bottom. It says in this particular instance that the overhead is 26%, but I would prefer it have a line, they were subtotal, there was a line that said 26% and then the total. Because I don't ever send these budgets to sponsors. These are our internal budgets only that we share among the PI and the coordinator and departments, for their review, and I tell them that this is to stay within us. This is our estimate. This is not what we would send to a sponsor. The only time I do send them to sponsors if the sponsor does not have their own budget template, which does happen occasionally, especially new startup companies. They haven't a clue where to start, so I'll send them, and then that's fine. We're okay with that. It's just that if you send your budget and they have their own budget template, then they'll come back to you and they say, oh, well, we aren't paying for that. Oh, you have a line there for ConMed review. We're not paying for that. I'm thinking, well, you wanted us to check their ConMed, so I don't understand. Well, we aren't, we're not going to pay for that as a line item. We're paying for it under another line called coordinator services. Well, in this budget, instead of having a line for coordinator services and for PI services, I itemize each item into increments of time. So that way you're actually getting an idea of how long it's going to really take. Whereas if you put in a line for coordinator and you say, well, I guess the coordinator is going to be here 3 hours or 4 hours, you're guessing. I mean, you don't know for sure unless you break it down by each procedure. So that's what this shows. This is another view of the same budget, only this time I created a budget where all of the services were singled out, and this particular one says there's going to be 10 patients. So all of the administrative costs, which is our facility fee, dry ice, parking, and stipend, are at the top, and it shows how many times it's going to occur during the study, and how many patients. So it gives you a grand total for more than one patient, whereas the other budget was just per one patient. So at the end of the day, we can say that this particular study is going to cost $47,061 with 26% overhead for 10 patients. And again, a lot of times the doctors want to see this because they kind of want to know how much money they're going to be brought in. Sometimes they're required to cover part of their salary by doing research. Not all of them, but it's just another way of kind of showing what the bottom line could be. And of course, all these are costs. I mean, it's not like they get to keep the money. You know, they use it to pay back the expenses for the study. So the startup fees. So we talked about that briefly at the beginning. I mean, because there's the two categories, startup and then there's the per patient. So startup fees could be startup, interim, and closeout. It doesn't have to be just startup. I put them all on the same page, and I'll show you that in a minute. But they're called startup fees and invoiceable items. So we always include a fee for our IRB submission and the preparation of the regulatory documents, the 1572, collecting CVs and licenses, and that occurs every year. I mean, our licenses, the doctor's licenses expire annually, so we have to collect new copies every year. So in my annual fee, I have an annual fee to do the annual IRB continuing review, and it also includes time to get all of the regulatory documents together and send them to the sponsor annually. Then we have research pharmacy fees. We have document archiving at the end. And since the FDA requires you keep your study documents for up to 15 years or so many years past the time that the drug is approved, a lot of times the sponsors are supposed to send you a letter, and we've gotten letters that saying this drug has been approved, you may destroy your documents. But they don't always, so we end up keeping them for 15 years. And, you know, I've told sponsors, you know, I ask for $1,000 for document archiving for every study. And we do enough research, and that if you collect all the different studies, $1,000 for every study, today, tomorrow, next week, next year, hopefully there's always enough money in the account to pay the archiving fees for that month or that year, you know, because we store them at a place called Iron Mountain, and they have an electronic storage. You send them little boxes. They send you boxes that are specific in size, so they fit on their shelves and they're barcoded. So if you ever want to retrieve a file, you just tell them which study it is, and then they can go find it. But they charge for that, you know. So you know, if we've had study sponsors call us back and say, you know, we're submitting to the FDA and we need something, you know, and whatever it is, and we'll say, well, this is what it's going to cost you to get it out. We call Iron Mountain, find out, and they're always willing to pay that extra fee. But the $1,000 is just to keep us going. And I said, you know, we're first going to keep them for 15 years. You can take a calculator, divide $1,000 by 15 years, and it's not even $100 a year. So you can get it down to monthly and say, you know what, this is only like $5 a month, come on. But you know, I can't guarantee that I'm going to be there in 15 years to invoice them every year for 15 years. And that you know, the doctors move around a lot. They're not going to be there. So the best way I've thought to do it would be just to ask for one fee, one time, and then we let it go. And so most sponsors will pay $1,000. Some will pay more. I don't ask for more, but I've seen more. If they offer more in their budget, I'll take it. You know, but I'm not going to ask for more because I like to be reasonable. You know, I feel like it's an ethical decision. So, but if they call me on it, which some do, say, well, we really only want to pay $500, and I'll say, well, how many patients? You know, if there's not a whole lot of paperwork and it's just a small little data collection study, then I'll say, okay, fine. But if it's something more, you know, I can argue and get it or meet them halfway. I mean, you can always, you know, decide what you want to do. Sometimes it's not worth the argument. Now, at our university, and I know it is not the same at other places, we charge overhead on all charges, all costs, directs and indirects. So we would put our fees for doing our regulatory submission, which is a administrative fee, not a charge from the IRB. we include overhead on everything. So if I say I'm asking for $3,500 to do the initial IRB application, collect the regulatory documents, including doing the budget, that includes overhead. So when the money comes back to pay us to do that, we get $3,500 less overhead. Because the way they figured it out is easier if all of the checks come into one central place for processing. So all research money goes through a central office. They remove the overhead, and then they put it in the right account. We have a lot of different, and they don't know what that check is for. They don't know if it's for startup fees. They don't know if it's for per patient fees. They just accept the checks and put them in the right account. So we just take overhead off of everything, and it makes it easy. It also helps fund, like this clinical research unit I was telling you about for the facility fees of only $20 an hour. Some of that overhead goes to pay for those kind of things that are used by everyone. But it was really more or less a business decision to do it that way. I know other people do it different ways, and I can't say what your place does. That's something you'd have to find out. So this is what a study startup budget might be. And if you'll notice, there's 3 columns. There's the initial fees, the annual fees, and the PRN fees, which are done as needed. So for instance, if the sponsor sends us an amendment, we call it, administrative amendment processing fee, because we have to prepare that amendment for the IRB. Now, our IRB did electronic, and so the IRB application is electronic. So the coordinator, the research, we have regulatory coordinators and study coordinators, but not every department has it the same way. But whoever's doing that work, our IRB, they have to go through the entire application and change all of the different boxes that fit whatever questions are asked for that particular study. So it's a lot of work. So we ask for $700 to do an amendment processing. But of that, we get about $500. Some departments have 10% department fee, a department overhead. Some departments have 5% department overhead. Since I am in a central unit and do budgets for all of these therapeutic areas, I have a sheet that tells me who has what overhead, so I know what overhead to use when I'm doing their budget. But our basic university overhead is 26%. So, we have a pharmacy, and pharmacy is through Barnes Jewish Hospital. So their fees are their fees. That we don't get any of that money that goes to them, but we still have to charge overhead on it, because if the money comes in and they automatically remove the overhead, and then whatever's left goes into the fund for that particular physician to pay the bills for that study. If the overhead isn't there, if they removed overhead, then there won't be enough money in the account to pay those pharmacy fees if the doctor didn't add overhead to those fees. I don't do all the budgets, by the way. I'm just in the central unit. The departments can choose if they want to use our services or not, or they can choose to do their own budgets or have their coordinator do them. So whatever they do, though, that's what they get. We try to help them. If they have questions, of course I'll help them. And we don't charge for that. Again, we're a central unit to help everyone. But if we do a budget for an industry-sponsored trial or an IRB application, then we do charge. And we put the money in the budget, and then we take it out, because that's our fee. We have a lot of customers, I guess you'd say, throughout the university, because their coordinators are so busy, their physician doesn't want them to have to worry about doing the IRB applications and the budget, so they let us do the startup, and then they have their own coordinators who are specialized in that particular area to do the coordinating. So, there's all different kinds of ways that departments can structure their services that they need. Another thing you might want to consider is pre-screening time. So a lot of times some industry sponsors have said, we're coming to you because you have the patients. What in the world do you need pre-screening for? It's a special population, and those patients just file in, they make appointments. Well, that could be true, but not all patients fit the criteria for the study just because they have that particular disorder. So you still have to go through their chart. And so what we would say is what we'll do is we'll search the database for all patients that have that particular disease using the ICD-9 or 10 code, I guess. And when we find those charts, we can look at them to see if they meet criteria. If you don't want to pay pre-screening, then we'll just wait, and as they schedule appointments throughout the year, we'll look at them then if we catch it. But if we don't catch it, we won't know. So a lot of times they actually do want to pay for pre-screening time when they figure out what it is you're charging for. So we figure that, if you know the inclusion-exclusion criteria, you can go through a chart looking for just the few things that your physician feels would be the things that would probably exclude them. So if it's, of course, if it's a lab, then you're kind of stuck because you almost have to draw that lab to know, because labs change. But if it's something else, that you can look in a chart to find, then you might be able to narrow down the patients that your coordinator actually looks at by pre-screening the charts. And we also have a recruitment. We can ask for recruitment and advertising. If they want us to advertise, that's another whole thing. Or we have different methods of advertising, and you can do the same thing, like flyers in doctors' offices and stuff like that. It still costs, and they'll pay that, and most of the time. You just have to ask. Let's see. So if you are doing an NIH study, for instance, and a lot of times I've seen a lot of their studies where they're offering an FTE. They don't always do that anymore. A lot of times they are per patient. But if they're offering an FTE, then the FTE could cover this pre-screening time, so you wouldn't necessarily even want to ask because it's already covered. So remember what kind of format your study budget is in so that you know what type of things to look for. So these are just examples of fees. It doesn't, everybody asks differently, but it just depends on the amount of effort that you're going to have your team put in to get these items finished. I usually try to ask for an investigator feasibility and review fee because a lot of times the investigator doesn't necessarily do any of the drudge work up front, to get the IRB done. Sometimes they do, but not always. Sometimes they have coordinators to do it, or they, work with us or whatever. But they still spend a lot of time. They still have to review the documents. They still have to sign off on everything. They usually read the protocol beforehand just to make sure that it is what they want. And we have one doc that won't do a study if it doesn't have it's not a drug study at least, unless it has a opportunity for a follow-up, because she doesn't want her patients getting started on a drug that they cannot continue with, because then that wouldn't be fair. So, you can make a decision about what type of fees you think are right for your site, but remember that you won't get in if you don't ask. So you think about it, you decide, what does this $3,500 stand for? Because they're going to ask you, well, what is this for? So what I did was I sat down and I created memos that describe each fee. So we usually ask for $7,000 startup fee. So that would be $3,500 for IRB and regulatory, which includes a budget. $2,500 for the study coordinator fee, because they have to prepare the source documents, and that takes a lot of time. And $1,000 for the PI fee for feasibility. And so I have 3 memos that describe these 3 fees. And so when I say I need $7,000, I say these are what they describe. Here's the memos, and I sign them. They're signed and dated. A lot of them are signed 2 years ago, and I send the oldest ones I can find so they can see that we've been using these fees for a long time. And I wouldn't backdate it, I'm honest. So if I change or update a fee, I make it whatever date that is. But the main thing is, this is what we charge for all industry sponsors. Now, if it is a NIH study that you're working on, or maybe one PI-initiated study, whether it's industry-funded or not industry-funded, you might want to, you're going to use your at-cost rate, at least if you want to give them the cheapest possible price. And you may not necessarily overestimate. You may say, well, we think it'll be this because it's this many hours. So the rate I use for industry is different than the rate that I would use for defending my NIH ones. But truthfully, I've never had any problems with the NIH, and I don't really have much problem with the industry either. As long as you've got those memos, they start firing back with the questions after you've sent the sponsor your budget, and I just start shooting back the memos, and then if it comes to what I've noticed, and I don't know how many of you negotiate clinical trial budgets, but I've noticed that sometimes if the CRO, they negotiate with you and you think you're finally done, it's agreed, then they say, okay, we're going to send it to the sponsor. I'm thinking, oh no, now I got to go through this all over again with them, you know. So what I try to do is tell the CRO, would you please just send our budget directly to the sponsor? I mean, I'll justify my cost to them, but if they start giving me too much trouble, too much nitpicking, I'll say, you know, this is what we charge all industry sponsors, and I really can't give it to you any cheaper than I'm giving the other industry sponsors that we work for, because it's not fair. And I said, you know, so if you would just send it to the sponsor, then let them tell us if they won't, and then we'll negotiate, you know. So I have done that a couple of times, and I was particularly frustrated one time because we had worked with this particular sponsor before, and it was about 3 years ago, let's say, and they had a very difficult study in the hospital. It was a hospital-based study, and the patients were very sick, and they wanted a lot of paperwork, so our coordinator was there all the time, and they wanted PKs. So the first, whatever doses those PKs were on, we almost had to use 2 coordinators because they wanted them at, you know, 1 minute, 5 minutes, you know, 15 minutes, and there was just no way that one person could do all that and still get them processed in a timely fashion, because you can't just let the samples sit there. So we did the one patient, we did everything we were supposed to, and they told me what happened, because when I was doing the budget, I didn't think of that. You know, it didn't even occur to me that they were shooting out so many PKs so quickly that one person couldn't handle it. So and they told me exactly what happened and why, so I sent the sponsor that I negotiated with a little email, and I said, dear Joan, you know, I try to develop a rapport with everyone that I'm negotiating with. You have to remember that it's their job and your job. You're 2 people. They're not like trying to take my money. I'm not trying to steal from them. You know, we can be friendly. We don't have to be at odds with each other just because we're on 2 different ends. But so a lot of times I'll call them and, you know, talk to people. But in this particular case, I sent an email because I had a lot to say and I wanted to say it a specific way. And pretty much I said, you know, we cannot continue to do another patient for this study unless we have an increase in our budget. We've lost our shirt. And I said, it's not fair to the physician because we bill him hourly for our coordinator time. This is a particular physician that was using our coordinators. But this is why, and I explained it all in detail. And she said, send me what you need, and I did. And she said, sure, we'll amend it, and we'll do it retroactively so you didn't lose any money. So there are sponsors out there they want the data and they want to pay for it. They just don't want you to gouge them, you know. And so if you're fair, and I spelled it out to them, and I explained our hourly rate and how we got it and everything, and she said no problem. So we got it. So then now it was a phase 2 study. Now we come to the phase 3 study, and we got the budget this past year, like late in the year, let's say October. I'm just guessing, but it wasn't that long ago. And I sent our budget, and I prepared it the exact same way. I remembered the other study. I went and looked, you know, and sometimes, you know, you want to see, well, how much did I, because if I go back and I cut my budget a little bit to make it less because I feel like we're way over, but I still, you know, I can cut it a little bit, but I can't cut it too much or we'll lose money. But in that case, you know, I just wanted to check, so I did the budget the exact same way. But I used the second budget, not the first budget. And I sent it to her, and she said, oh, that's way too high. Well, this time it was a CRO. It wasn't the sponsor, and it wasn't the particular person I negotiated with earlier. But the person I negotiated with earlier was still with the sponsor. And so I just said, we cannot cut it anymore. We're done. And I said, would you please send our budget the way it is to the sponsor? And so she said, okay, but they are not going to approve it. This is way too much. And I said, well, would you just send it to them anyway? And she said, okay, and she sent it to him, and I bet it wasn't even 5 minutes later, she emails me back, and she goes, I can't believe it, they accepted your budget. And I said, oh, good, thanks. And she, you know, so I said, well, I'm glad I did that because, you know, you have to be realistic, but you have to know when to walk away, too. And this particular sponsor knew that we did good work. It was a rare population. We had patients. and they wanted to use us again. Our coordinators weren't too excited because it was really a hard study, but it's a phase 3, so it should be easier than the first one we did. But you just have to be reasonable and make sure that you can justify your budget, because whoever you're negotiating with, they are going to come back and ask you if they think you're too high. So if we aren't using the pharmacy, remember you have to keep any study drug locked behind at least 2 locks, meaning a door and a cabinet, or if it's or even if it's information, you have to be behind 2 keys like in a computer. So we charge extra because a lot of the times the doctor, if they're not using the pharmacy, they don't have any place to put anything, so they might buy a cabinet to lock. So we put in $500 to $1,000, depending on what it is, to cover a cabinet purchase. But most of the time lately, we've been using the pharmacy because they're just out of room. Everybody's out of room, so we use the pharmacy and they take care of that. Annual fees, we try to charge the pharmacy annual fee is $1,500. Or the initial fee for pharmacy at our place is $1,000, or plus overhead, so it's $1,500, and the annual fee is $700. So we charge $1,000 because with overhead, and it just depends. Like I said, it depends on if you charge overhead on those kind of things. So let's see. I always add in my budget after I've itemized every little thing. Then I have we're done with the visits, that's what's going to happen. Then I add a line for CRF completion, and I usually make it for 2 hours per visit, because generally it takes them 2 hours. If it doesn't take them, if it's a simple little visit, then I can see that because I can look at it and say, oh, they're only doing 1 or 2 things, then I can make it an hour. But I look at that when I'm doing that, and I generally add 2 hours. Plus, I have another line called monitoring visit. And per visit, I'll put like a half an hour of time to cover that time when the monitor comes and asks questions about your budget. About your CRFs or your patient data. And sometimes they have stickies, to request stuff. And sometimes it's just time spent with the monitor. But whatever it is, we put it in the budget to cover that. And if the labs are going to a central lab, fine, then you don't have to itemize them. You can just say for phlebotomy and lab processing. But if they're going to a local lab, you don't have lab processing, but you do have a lab fee. So you need to put that in there too. And we talked about justifying and how much time you think. And you can get that information from your sponsors, from your coordinator. And most of the time, for vital signs, height, weight, I'll do $10 each, because I figure they do the height, weight, and vital signs in 15 minutes if you go to the doctor. So that should be enough time. So who's dispensing the study med? If it's not, it's your coordinator's probably involved if she's handing it off to the patient, but it could be that the pharmacy is dispensing it to her. So you have to know who's dispensing and what their charge is for that fee, and you can put that in your budget. If there's instructions there needs to be training to your patient by the coordinator to take this study drug, it needs to be refrigerated, or you can't eat within 2 hours before and after, or whatever those instructions are. Sometimes they have to be typed out so the patient can take it home. But whatever it is, you have to make sure that you've accounted for that time in your budget, because it's going to be time that's going to take the coordinator. It makes the visit longer, the longer everything takes. If you're going to have a study that involves prophylactic medications, so when we do these obesity trials where they put in balloons and stuff in their stomach, they a lot of times need to have Prilosec or some sort of nausea medicine. So we have to get a price from our outpatient pharmacy to how much they'll charge to let us have so much to dispense to the patient at how many of our time points that we plan to give it to him. And I add that in the budget. If there is if you have a bunch of devices that you need to store, that's another thing that you might need to. You may not have a drug, but you might have devices, and they have to be locked too. So you might want to consider a fee for that. It depends on how much room you have. So this is just something you can think about when you're figuring your cost for everything. A lot of times a sponsor will choose you as a site because you have access to EKG machines, centrifuges, X-ray, MRI. It could just be something as easy as a blood pressure cuff. But if you have to have those things calibrated annually, and that's a cost for your site, or if they involve supplies like an EKG machine, it involves paper and ink and calibration. You have to figure that in the cost per time point. You don't figure it in as, oh, the calibrations for the EKGs for this study is going to be $100, you know. What we do is we say, well, to do an EKG, it's going to be $100. Instead of, it only takes 30 minutes for the coordinator, but the rest of that, money will go towards paying for calibrations and that sort of thing. So that's something you might want to take about. Sponsors do not want to pay for those line items for IV pumps and all that stuff. They say that that's something you're supposed to have in order to do the study. But it still does involve a cost, and you might want to take that in consideration. And I just mentioned monitoring visits and how we add a half an hour. And by the way, the coordinators loved that when they saw that when I first started doing that, because I didn't do it from the get-go. You know, you learn things as you go along. It's not something that you just all of a sudden say, oh, yeah, I need to charge for that. You don't even think about it at first. And then as time goes on and you feel that you get feedback from the coordinators and they're complaining about how much time they're spending with their monitors. So I started adding this time, and I said, oh, my God, I love that. Thank you. That allows me some time to spend with them and not feel like I have to rush. So I put also a line in as PI fees for each visit, because a lot of times the PIs have to sign off on CRFs, labs, EKGs, even if they're not necessarily at every visit. So I think I put in $50 a visit, so that at the, if there's 10 visits, then they've made $500 to cover their time, because a lot of times their time isn't covered. They have so little time to spend, they're rushing between clinic and doing research, that it does help, with their bottom line. So let's see here. And if you're going to work by the hour, so if you want to charge by the hour because you think that would be fairer than putting in a fee, then you can have to decide how much is your hourly rate, and how much are you going to charge that internal customer, what type of sponsor do you have, federally funded or industry sponsored, or non-industry and industry. And then you decide how much it's going to be. And it's probably a good idea to have an agreement. If you are not working directly for your PI, or if you're hiring a coordinator from another PI because you have so much to do and they don't have so much to do, you need to make something in writing so that there's no hard feelings. Everybody knows exactly how they're going to be charged and what they're going to be paid. If you have a subcontractor, let's say that dermatologist or that ophthalmologist is going to look at your patient, they need to know how much they get paid for doing that service. And you need to have it in the budget, and everybody's on the same page, then nobody gets upset. So when you're negotiating, industry sponsors sometimes, have wiggle room. So if your budget comes out to be $15,000 and they're only offering $10,000, then it doesn't mean that you can't work with them. What it means is you just have to ask for what you need and see what happens. They have a little room to negotiate. Sometimes, it's the overhead that's an issue. If you have 36% overhead and they put 20 in their budget, well, then, of course, there's a difference right there. Once you change their overhead on the template to match what you need, it could bring you up where you need to be, or you're not so far off. But I did have a study one time that the PI was in a department that had 36% overhead, 10% department overhead, 26% university overhead. And we were just higher, and they just kept saying, no, we can't do it, we can't do it. It was a different one than the other one. This is a different therapeutic area. So finally, I sent them an email, and the doctor said, we just cannot lose money. We don't have any extra money sitting around to help pay for these services, and we need to cover the time for our coordinator, because the coordinators, are hired to be coordinators. A lot of times, doctors may have started out using their nurse, their clinic nurse or whatever, but the bottom line is they don't really have time to do research, and research takes a lot of time. So they hire coordinators. So if they can't break even, at least for the cost of the study, then they don't necessarily need to be working for that industry sponsor. So they said, we have to break even or we can't do it. So I sent an email to the sponsor, and I said, while Dr. So-and-so really appreciates the opportunity to work on this study, we unfortunately cannot work for less than what it costs at our site. We understand that you have only so much money, so maybe it's best that we don't participate this time. If you want to use an academic center, we understand that we are notoriously higher than other sites, and sometimes it is the overhead. But we have the thought leaders here at our university, and we have patients to come to those thought leaders. So we have the population, but we just can't do it for free. Next time you have a study, we'll be happy to consider it, but we can't participate this time. And they emailed me almost immediately back again. This is another one that got a quick return. And they said, okay, we'll accept your budget. And because they really wanted us to participate, but they really wanted us to do it for less. But some things are just out of your control. So don't always think, well, you got to do it if you want to. There's a lot of docs that say, I really want to do this study because I know that doc that's the leader on this one, and he's a good friend of mine. We went to med school together, and blah blah blah. They have to understand: do they want to make money, or do they just want to make friends? Because sometimes you have to stand your ground, and if they can do it, fine. Sometimes if it's an NIH study, we accept whatever it is they're offering if it's not negotiable, because the docs want to be part of that group leading that particular study. But then they make it up on the industry studies, so that's why they can't accept not to at least get paid for their efforts for industry-sponsored studies. So there is a balance, and you have to figure out what that balance is at your site, and what types of studies are you willing to maybe take a loss on, and what types of studies do you not want to take a loss on, because you can't lose on everything. It used to be that industry sponsors had like 30%, but I don't think anymore. I think it's really everybody, there's a lot of tightening in their belts, so you just have to discuss it with them and see what happens and know when to walk away. We talked about the NIH and these different groups. Federally funded studies, we were trying to figure out, is there a rule that says they have to be done at cost? And I looked through all kinds of documents online at the FDA and at the NIH, trying to figure out if there was some rule that said that and it actually does say it somewhere, that they expect you to work at cost. But cost is fluid. It's different costs for different people, so you have to keep that in mind. And but we just wanted to know because somebody asked me, and I said, I really don't know. I just knew we did it at cost because we do it at cost. So I was trying to find proof so I could tell this person. And I did, I think, come with it. I don't have it in these slides, but it probably would be something to be interesting. So if you have an FTE and they're paying an equivalent of a percentage of someone's salary, then that person needs to work that much on this particular study. So there's lots of things they can do, but if they aren't busy enough, if the study, there's no patients coming in and they can't work, there's nothing to do, then they shouldn't take the money. That's the bottom line. Of course, that doesn't usually work real well either. It's very difficult. So this particular slide talks about when you're asking for prices for your different procedures, and you have to ask someone else for price, and you need to tell them if it's federally funded or industry sponsored. And then overhead is another thing. Whatever your overhead is at your institution, you need to find out what it is if you don't know, because that needs to go on everything. And that helps cover many costs at a university for sure. We have a research compliance office and everything that money, I guess, goes to fund. So patient cost and regarding studies or procedures that are standard of care versus paid for by the budget. I talked about this at the beginning, and this is one of those things that is an ethical question. But if patients are responsible to pay their copays and deductibles as part of their insurance plan, then is it fair to give away the same procedure for a different patient that does not have any insurance for free? Because it is illegal for you to pay their copays and deductibles, first of all. If it's part of their plan, they have to pay it. That's the rule. It's illegal for the sponsor to pay it or even for you to waive it. So what I typically tell the sponsors, if I think that it's going to be a problem for the study, is that we want you to pay for all of it. You know, we're not charging some of our patients. We're not letting our patients have to pay copays and deductibles, and other patients get it free because they don't have insurance. Because sometimes it'll say in the contract that they will pay for the procedure if it's not covered by insurance. So we strike that. And we will say if it's not standard of care, we can do it. So like sometimes it might be charged to the study budget because it's not standard of care, but then that still applies to everyone. It doesn't apply to just those people that don't have insurance. So it's all in the wording. But whatever it is you decide to do, you know, you have to take a stand. And we decided that it wouldn't be fair, so we ask and tell them you have to pay for everything. And a lot of times they do. I mean, it depends on what the study is and if they want you to participate or not. But remember to think about that. But what I was told was it can be construed as a violation of the federal anti-kickback statute for the healthcare provider to waive the patient's copays and deductibles and views as an inducement or coercion for the patient to participate. So does that make sense? So it could, you know, in other words, if you're going to pay their copay and deductible, it's like you're bribing them. So we don't do that. We just say if the sponsor wants that patient to be enrolled, they're going to have to pay for that procedure. So mixing research with routine care. I went to a seminar, I guess you'd say, similar to this, I suppose, only this particular one was advertised to be for sponsors, CROs, sites, everybody. And so it was all about budgeting. And I thought, well, that's what I do, so I'd like to go. So I did go. And it was a 2-day seminar, and I thought this is really going to be interesting because most budgeting seminars are short. But I like to get ideas, know what other people are thinking. And I went, and it turned out I was the only site that was represented in that audience. They were all sponsors and CROs. And they were talking about how to set up your budget. But they were talking about it from the level up here, not the level where I come in. And so, of course, I was ostracized. I was the enemy. They were kind of all sat over there, and I was over here by myself. But the bottom line was it was interesting, and, you know, it was pretty much what we talk about here, only from that different level. And they try to figure out what it's going to cost on average for these different areas. You know, if this is the area you live in, this is what it should cost, which doesn't really apply to academia, I can tell you that. But either way, there was one particular person that got up to talk about mixing research with routine care and how that was a great way to reduce the cost of your budget. And so I tried to be as invisible as I could during that whole 2-day seminar. But for this particular person, I finally had to raise my hand and said, I have a question here. Or maybe it was more of a comment. I said, it takes so much more time for the coordinator to pre-certify that patient to make sure that their insurance will pay for them to participate in research, that by not paying for that entire study, you're actually causing the coordinator to do a lot more work. So if your coordinator is if your study is going to be some sort of study that involves a procedure in the hospital or even a procedure as an outpatient, like an MRI, but it could be done as standard of care for whatever this population is. Maybe it's vertebrae or, you know, study, or a bone, you know, like a foot, you know, all those different studies about different types of your anatomy and bones. A lot of times they'll have a lot of this. If you have surgery, then it's written in standard of care when they would allow or in general would allow the insurance companies allow you to bill. So she said, oh yeah, you just have all of your assessments based around this and your budget's very small. And I said, well, there's a lot of companies, just because they have insurance doesn't mean their insurance will allow them to participate in research. You know, when an employer picks their health insurance policy package, they choose modules. You know, I think I'll take this one and this one and this one. And if they don't choose the module that says that particular patient can participate in research, then that entire their insurance will not pay. And if they find out that they were participating in research, they may say they won't pay for anything related to that particular injury. So then you've got a whole surgery, and that can be real expensive, to get down to. So I said, what you're saying is not true. It's not going to change. It's not going to decrease the cost of your study at all. It'll limit who you can enroll, and it will also limit the time of the coordinator as far as if they're going to even bother enrolling patients if they have. So just because you have United Healthcare doesn't mean you can participate in research. As a matter of fact, one year we all were laughing because we have United Healthcare at work, and they didn't have the module that we could participate in research. And we're a research institution. So of course that got to the top really quick, and the next year we had that module. So we can participate in research should we choose. But it was funny that obviously everything costs, and even the employers have to choose when they're picking that particular healthcare package if they want to pick modules. So there's a lot of time. If you enroll a patient in a study and their insurance will not allow them to be in the study, then you have to be very careful, because you could jeopardize them getting their insurance to cover anything, and that would be a burden to that patient. And so is that fair? Probably not. So you probably all know that double dipping is illegal. So if you charge your budget, you cannot charge the patient's insurance. So we have, in 2005, I think it was, when it first became the law that you had to make sure you kept your billing straight, and there was a lot of different procedures that were put in place to make sure that the hospital and the professional fees weren't being billed to insurance if they were being paid for by research. So we have to be very careful, or they have to give the money back, because if you accept both payments, it can be considered insurance fraud or Medicare fraud. And a big place like an academic center that has a lot of Medicare patients do not necessarily want to lose that funding. So we have to be very careful. So a lot of money is just written off because they don't want to even take the risk. But we've gotten better. I mean, at the beginning, in 2005, it was very difficult. But we've gotten better at trying to document what things are considered research, and our budgets are very transparent. That's why we got the software, so they could look to see if it was in the budget at that particular visit and that time point. So, but just so you know, that is something you have to consider. So all of these things that we talked about, being charged to the patient's insurance or not being charged to their insurance or being paid for by the study budget, all of that is kind of spelled out in the informed consent. So when you have an informed consent and you gave a list of all the things that are going to happen to them, during all the study visits, and you say, you put it all in black and white, and then you say, you will not have to pay anything to be in this study. Everything for the study will be provided to you at no cost. Well, guess what? Everything is now at no cost. It doesn't matter if you intended for them to have an x-ray done as standard of care, because, again, you don't know what insurance they have. But if you tell them they're not going to have any out-of-pocket expenses, well, that means that they won't have any co-pays and deductibles either. So you've just taken away the ability to bill their insurance, because a cost out of pocket would be a co-pay or a deductible. So you have to make sure that your informed consent is worded correctly. So that's why at the beginning, one of the things I want to talk to you about was making sure that the paperwork all says the same thing. You have to make sure your IRB application and your budget are in parity. They do say the same thing. What's covered in the budget is in the budget, and it's not charged to the patient. But a lot of times we'll have a sentence in our informed consent that says, if you have any co-pays and deductibles, those will be your responsibility, and, blah, blah, blah. They have to spell it out. So that's another thing I just want you to be aware of. This is the insurance denial language. Most favored nation type rule says that another payer cannot be treated better or given a better deal than Medicare is given. So if you have Medicare patients in your population, that's another thing you have to consider, is that if you give away an x-ray to a patient because their insurance denied it, well, then you've just given that same procedure away for free to all your Medicare patients. You cannot give anything to one group that you can't give any one group, doesn't matter what that group is, a better deal than what you give your Medicare patients. So again, you have to make sure that you've done your budget correctly and all the wording is done. And all the wording agrees. All right, we talked about that. So that's it. Does anybody have any questions? I know there's a lot of you out there that might have questions, and if you do, I think there's a mechanism in place for you to email me those questions, and I will get back to you and answer them to the best of my ability. You all have a great day.